Hello friends, welcome to another chair yoga video. I'm Nina G. I'm so glad that you decided to join me today. Our practice today continues our exploration of hope. In my classes, we talked about how hope has many components, including strength. There's another video on that. And also resilience and light, being light for others, and lightness as opposed to heaviness. So we're going to explore those components today. On the strength portion, if you're interested, you might want to bring your resistance band. If you have a stretchy band, you can use it. A yellow one, orange one, whatever kind, just an option. And other than that, we need our chair, something to connect our feet to the floor, and we're ready to go. Now, I will tell you while I'm up here next to the camera, our mudra today is the Hakini mudra, the gesture of integration. And we're going to bring all of our fingers together to match their mates on the other side. We'll let the elbows be out from the ribs, and then those hands can rest in front of the torso. So I'll meet you on your chair. We'll be ready in our Hakini mudra. We're sitting back in our chair. We have our fingers in that mudra, perhaps shoulders down from the ears. Find that inner lift of the spine. And the invitation is to soften or close the eyes and tune into your breath. Notice it entering and leaving the body. And also notice sensation in your hands. And while Hakini mudra gives you one sensation, you might feel something different if you just tap the fingers together. So I'm just slightly separating them, tapping them together again, getting a little different sensation here. Try that a few times, and then you might decide to go with one or the other. Slowing down the breath, smoothing it out. And then whatever you're doing, we'll just pause. We'll release that mudra, twinkle or sparkle the fingers, and we'll stack the palms at heart center, taking a moment to set an intention for this class. Could be the idea of hope, strength, resilience, light, or anything else that's important to you today. Bring it to the front of your mind, the front of your heart. And then we'll release those hands back down, float them down, eyes are open, and we'll move to the edge of our chair. I'm moving my blocks out of the way, putting my feet directly on the floor, hands to the lap. Let's do a few rounds of cow and cat. So we'll inhale, arch the back, fill up the belly with breath. Exhale, engage the core. Bring the belly button back to the spine. Separate the shoulder blades. Moving with that slow, smooth breath. And then after your next exhale, just pause. Sit up tall. Let those shoulders come down. Notice how you feel. Okay, we're going to interlace our hands now, interlacing the fingers. So when we talk about resilience and building resilience, we're talking about crossing the midline of the body and the brain, connecting those two hemispheres. So we're going to interlace our fingers already. We've got that connection. We'll flatten the palms, and we'll do some little disco hands here. Moving the wrists, forearms, elbows a little bit. Maybe go the other way, yeah. Interesting sensations here. And then what if you pause here, interlace the fingers the non-habitual way, try it again, flat palms, see what it feels like now. And maybe let that movement get a little bit bigger, adding a little twist in, So some motion in the rib cage now. Elbows could get higher. Shoulders start to become a part of it. And go the other way as well. And then we'll pause, we'll release those fingers, shake them out. Bring the hands back to the lap for a moment, take a breath. And we'll interlace our fingers now one more time, this time keeping the palms together. And we'll make some small lazy figure eights. Lazy figure eights in front of us. And we'll start small. But we know we can make this bigger. Bringing some motion into the upper back, upper body, a little bit of a twist perhaps. I've got my elbows going. Yeah, and then go the other way with your lazy figure eights. And then pause in the center and release those hands. Let them float down to your lap. And then we're going to release our hands down alongside the body. Feet are on the floor. We're sitting up tall. We feel that connection, sitting bones to the chair. We'll take a sun breath here. Inhale, circle and sweep the arms up, perhaps coming to that Hakini Mudra overhead. Gaze is straight ahead. And then the exhale will float the arms back down. So it's kind of interesting the first couple of times to meet the fingers. See what it feels like? Yeah, there we go. Now you might want to skip the breath and just go faster or slower just to see if you can find those fingers. Give it a try however you need to. Yeah, I got them. Let's try one more. Circle the arms up, let the fingers touch, stay here. Get a little taller on the inhale. Soften shoulders on the exhale. So we find that extension of the spine. And then on your next exhale, whenever that may be, release the arms, let them float back down, let them rest in your lap. Take a few circles with the shoulders. See how that feels. Make any movements you need to. And we're going to sit up tall again. This time we take the arms wide, palms up, soft elbows, wrists, palms. We're going to take an inhale here, perhaps with a little bit of a back bend. As we exhale, we're going to hug ourselves with that right arm on top. Drop the chin. Now inhale, open again, look up. Exhale, hug, left arm on top. Here we are, crossing the midline again. Drop the chin. Do it again, open wide. Give yourself that hug. We're rounding the spine, much like our cat pose. Drop the chin, drop the elbows. And then keep the hug, sit up tall, lift the elbows, gaze is straight ahead. Breathe here, notice the space between the shoulder blades. On your next inhale, open wide again, look up, soft arms, shoulder blades together and down the back. And then on our next exhale, we'll hug ourselves left on top, round the spine, drop the elbows. Now sit up tall, lift those elbows a little bit higher. Here we are crossing the midline, making those connections between the hemispheres of the brain. And then on our next inhale, we open arms wide, look up, and float the arms back down into the lap. Take a few circles with the shoulders. And we're going to make our way to standing now. Now let's bring our feet in just a little bit. Shift forward, push down, and let's come up to standing. Okay, I've rearranged my space a little bit. To start, if we need support, we can have our back to the wall or we can have that chair in front of us. I'm going to keep it off to the side just so we can see each other here with the camera. But we're going to come to our mountain pose, feet straight ahead, arms down by your side. We'll come back to that sun breath with that Hakini Mudra overhead. So as we inhale, we'll circle and sweep arms up. See if those fingers can find each other. Yeah. Ooh. And then float down. Now, if your shoulders don't like this move, of course, we can come right here, keeping the shoulders down. But we're working with that idea of proprioception. Where are we in space? And that's always good. Now, the next opportunity to add on would be to lift those heels as we go up. So it's a controlled lift and a controlled lower. Let's give it a try. Inhaling, sweeping arms up, lifting the heels. Fingertips meet. Yep. And exhale, we float back down with control. Try it again. Circle and sweep. Exhaling, releasing. One more, up and down. Now this next time we'll stay up. Perhaps you've lifted your heels. We're going to stay here or here, wherever it is. The inhale is going to get our spine a little bit longer, a little bit taller. As we exhale, we can soften the heels a bit, soften elbows and shoulders. Keep going. And then on your next exhale, whenever that may be, we'll float the arms down, float the heels down, land everything. And pause for a moment. Notice how that feels. We're going to work with our Warrior One next. Warrior One next. And we can be next to our chair. And I think that's probably the best way to do this one. We'll stand next to our chair. We can use the chair for support if we like. And the outside leg is going to be up by the back leg of the chair. And then the leg that's next to the chair, you'll step back for some Warrior One. Front knee bent, front knee bent. And actually, I'm going to put my hand on the front knee. So here's my Warrior One, bend the knee, there's Warrior One. Okay, we're going to move within this pose with the option to use that arm that's next to the chair. So as we inhale, we bend the knee, reach the arm up, and exhale, float it back down. Take your time. Now let's stay in the pose. So you might be here or you might be here. Either one is fine. But I'm going to release that hand that's on the knee. I'm going to let it float down. And then on my next inhale, I'm going to circle it up, see if I can come back to that Hakini Mudra. Interesting. And then float down. So if you need to hold on to the chair, that's fine. That outside arm is just going to reach up and float back down. If balance is fine today, we reach up, fingers will tap, and we'll float back down. Let's do two more. Last one. And then we'll step that back foot forward. Step that back foot forward. Now you can step to the other side of your chair. I'm just going to, I'll just turn, pretend I have my hand on a chair. Okay, so the leg next to the chair is the leg that steps back. That's the leg that steps back. And so that front knee will be bent and you've got your hand on it. And we'll inhale, bend the front knee, reach the arm up. Exhale, leg straightens, arm comes down. Or the hand stays on that chair. Now we come into our Warrior One. And we'll release the hand that's on the thigh. Just let it float down. And on our next inhale, we'll float it up, perhaps into that Hakini Mudra. There it is. And float back down. Or this hand can be on the chair. We know that. Last one. We can bring the hand to the chair. We step the back foot forward. We pause and we notice sensations in the body. How does that feel? Okay, we're going to come back to warrior one. We may or may not use the chair at this point, but I'm going to go back to my first side with 1 foot forward, 1 foot back. So in this case, I have my left foot forward and my right foot back. Now I'm going to straighten that leg. I'm going to open those arms wide as I've done before. Take an inhale here. Exhale, bend the front knee, give yourself that hug. I'm going to put my right arm on top, drop the chin. Inhale, open wide. Exhale, hug, left arm on top. So again, if you need the chair in front of you for balance, great idea. Open wide. So we're alternating the arms. Again, working across the 2 hemispheres of the brain. Now let's stay here. I have my left foot forward, my left arm's on top, dropping the chin. And then I'm going to straighten out that spine. Crown of the head reaches for the ceiling. I'm going to lift my elbows. Feel that space between the shoulder blades. Just find some lightness there in the elbows. And breathe in your warrior one. And then we'll unwind those arms, come back to that nice open feeling across the front of the chest. Float the arms down to the back of the chair, step the back foot forward. So now we'll do the other side. So I'm going to have my right foot forward now, my right foot forward and my left foot back. We can work with the chair if we need to, no problem. Okay, so we find our warrior one again. I do not have a really deep stance right now, but I don't need a really deep stance right now. I feel very comfortable and secure in this pose. So we'll bend the front knee. Now we'll straighten the front leg. Sorry, we'll open our arms wide. The elbows, the wrists, the palms are soft, the fingers are soft. We'll take an inhale. And then as we exhale, I'm going to hug myself with the left arm on top. Drop the chin. Inhale, straighten the leg, open wide, look up. Exhale, right on top of left, drop the chin. Open and round. Last one. And round, staying here in our warrior one. I'm going to fix my microphone here. And then straighten out that spine. Lift the elbows. Look straight ahead. Now we're going to release those arms wide. Open up across the front of the chest. Float the arms down, step that back foot forward. Pause, take a breath, notice how you feel. We're going to step a little bit wider now for a warrior two. Warrior two. With a wider stance, we'll turn our right legs out, right toes out to the right and left toes in slightly. And we know our warrior two stance. Again, if we need support for this, we can have the wall behind us or chair in front of us. Okay, so our warrior two, our arms are wide, very strong pose. Another strong pose, right? This is the strength. We reach from fingertip to fingertip. Now we're going to turn our palms up. And on our next inhale, we're going to let the arms and the upper body get so light. The front leg straightens, fingertips touch overhead. Hakini Mudra. Exhale, come back to warrior two. Keep going. One more. And stay here. Softening the shoulders down from the ears. Feeling the connection of the feet to the floor. Feeling the strength in this pose. And then float the arms down and straighten the leg. We'll turn our toes straight ahead. We'll pause for a moment. Notice how this feels in the body. And then we'll take our left toes out and our right toes in slightly. We're going to find that warrior two on the other side. My knee goes about over my ankle. It doesn't go beyond my toes, somewhere over that foot. Okay. So once we're there, we add in the arms. Here's our power. Breathing here, warrior two, strong warrior pose. And you might want to look around, make sure that the arms are parallel. And if shoulders are an issue, drop them down a little bit if that feels better. Nothing should hurt in our yoga class. Turn palms up. On our next inhale, we'll straighten the leg. Think about getting so light, so light. Fingers touch. Boop. Exhale, return, warrior two. So we start to float away. The upper body floats away, legs straighten, fingers touch. And we come back. Last one. Now stay here and breathe in our very strong warrior two. We'll float the arms down, we'll straighten that front leg, and we'll turn our toes so that they're straight ahead. And then we'll step our feet together. Step the feet together. Pause for a moment. We're going to come back to a wide stance, but we're going to bring a little symmetry back into the body. So we'll take our slightly wider stance. This might be narrower than warrior two, or it might be the same. But this time we're going to bring our heels and toes out. We're going to work with our goddess squat. So when we squat, we want knees to be over toes 2 and 3. So try a couple of those just to make sure you're going in the right direction. We don't want those knees dropping in. Not good for the knees. And we don't have to go super deep, right? This is good. This is a squat as well. Now, with our breath and our arms, we're going to inhale, float the arms up. Think about that lightness in the upper body. So there's a 5-pointed start. As we exhale, we're going to bend elbows and knees. Come into the squat. Yes. Push into both feet. Get light again. Float the arms down. Let's continue in that way. Inhaling, floating arms up. Here's our light. Exhale, bend. Yes. Push into both feet. Get light again. And exhale, float the arms down. We're going to try one more just like that. Elbows and knees bend. Arms go back up. And we float the arms down, legs stay straight. Pause for a moment, check in with those sensations. And now we have the option to use our stretchy band, our resistance band. Now, if you're going to use it, please be sure nothing hurts. We don't want to overdo. We're going to grab it palms down in front of the hips, slightly wider than my shoulders at this point. If you're not using a band, you're going to do the same thing that we've just done, which is what we're about to do. So we're going to take the arms up. That's your 5-pointed start. There is minimal tension on the band at this point, but I'm not pulling it yet. So there's a little tension so it's not slack. Now, as we exhale, we're going to bend knees, bend elbows, and that band is going to stay over my head. Inhale, straighten arms and legs. Exhale, float the arms down. See if you can maintain the tension without letting it drop to slack. So it's that tiny bit of tension. We'll do 3 more, whether you're using the band or not. We inhale. Now exhale, engage, elbows, knees bend. We're in our squat. We inhale, straighten, and lower the arms. Round 2. Bend. And lower. One more, just like that, lifting the arms, bending elbows and knees. We come back up. We float the arms down, and then we let that band get slack, put it off to the side. Let's step our feet together, make some interesting movements with shoulders, with arms, with fingers, just to release any of that tension. Okay, so to kind of tie everything up with a pretty bow, we're going to do some interesting balance. So connecting both sides of the brain, both hemispheres of the brain, both sides of the body. We're going to need our strength, our core strength, because it's a balance pose, and we're going to think about getting light. So stand slightly wider than your mountain pose. If you need help here, I would say back to the wall. You can always let your hips rest there, but we're going to connect. I'm going to connect my right hand to my left knee. So that arm goes down, my knees are super soft, and as I inhale, almost like I have a string connecting my hand to my knee. As I exhale, it's going to lower back down with just as much control. Now, both knees are super bent. I'm turning to the side so you can see it. Now I take my left hand connected to right knee and lift up and come back down. Right hand, left knee. Think about getting light here. Lower, switcheroo, left hand, right knee. So we're controlling this movement both up and down. A lot of strength work here, both in the feet ankle and also in the core. We're crossing the midline of the brain, always helping to develop that resilience. And we're finding that light feeling within. Let's do one more on each side. And then just pause in the center. Notice how that made you feel. Now we might want to take a little bit of a downward facing dog here. We can come to the back of our chair, come to the back of the chair with our hands on the back of the chair. Knees are soft. You can step back a little bit, let the hips go back. Finding that nice long spine. Smoothing out the breath here. And you control this, right? You might go back a little farther. You might come in a little closer. This is your downward facing dog. And then we're going to walk towards the chair to come out of the pose. And we'll make our way back to seated now. Okay, we're back in our chair. We can connect our feet back to the floor. I'm using blocks to connect. And we're going to sit back in our chair, perhaps coming back to our Hakini Mudra, that gesture of integration. Integrating all that we know about the components of hope, the strength, the resilience, the light that we need. Find that inner lift of the spine. You're invited to soften or close your eyes. Come back to the breath. And then, if you'd like, you can tap those fingers together again if that's something that feels good, feels interesting. Lots of nerve endings in the fingers. And then we'll release that mudra. Twinkle or sparkle your fingers. You can shake them out, little jazz hands here. And we'll slide to the edge of our chair. One last time, feet directly on the floor, sitting up tall. And take a moment right here, right now, to notice how you feel. And then we'll stack those palms at heart center and recall the intention that we set at the beginning of our class. And then thank yourself. Thank yourself for showing up today to practice yoga. And I thank you as well. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for bringing me hope. Stay well, my friends. I'll see you again soon.